Hi, Scott. Great to chat with you.
Hey, guys.
Eric Kerr stepped down as Quebec's Minister of Cybersecurity earlier today amid the SACLIC fiasco. Is this the first of perhaps 3 resignations, as the Liberals are calling for?
Well, that certainly is what the opposition are looking for. The old I sack the sheriff move is not sufficient for the opposition. They want more tin stars on their desk, and we'll have to see. I hesitate to say that this is probably the end of it, although I think it's probably the end of it. But, this thing is just mushroomed. And it's so mindful of other kinds of scandals. And I know the comparison has been made with Charbonneau and so on and so forth, but it reminds me more of, federal problems that have happened and the province of Ontario, where you've seen similar issues with large, complicated IT projects. The budget is set at one number, then it swells to another. Then people start talking about what was the procurement. And of course, then you get ministers who want to sort of sermonize about how wonderful and above all the turmoil they are. And of course, then they, it's just like they're waving their hand at God saying, I dare you to hit me with lightning. Well, Eric Carr got hit by lightning.
Do you think it's going to expand to Guilbeault and to Bonardel, the other 2 that were in the transport office?
Maybe Treasury Board. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that the case is demonstrable against them. But, the go's on his back foot. And, he said he wasn't going to let it go this far. So we'll have to wait and see how much difficulty the opposition can bring to bear on the government for this. Like at some point, the premier may just say, all right, I'm going to shotgun everybody just to get the problem off my desk. But I would hold the line if I were him. Letting one minister go is a big deal. Letting 3, at that point, that's basically a declaration that your government isn't just in a crisis, it's in chaos.
The Conservatives are coming out attacking Mark Carney, saying he lied about his role in moving his investment firm's office to the U.S. Did he lie?
I don't really think he did. But this is part of that awkward. First of all, this is part of an onslaught of opposition research we're going to get from the Conservatives. They're looking at Mark Carney. They're seeing that people are interested in him. He's attracting a reversal in the polls for the Liberals. So he's going to get hammer and tong from the Conservatives. And, this is also part and parcel of that awkward transition from the worlds of high finance, big bucks, even the opportunity for the Conservatives to say, well, this guy's got like $3 million in shares as chair of this board, and he's making decisions about moving the headquarters to the United States at a time when we're fighting for the United States. It's all just cream for the opposition, but how valid it is at the bottom of it, it feels pretty technical to me. Did they make the decision in the fall when it was first raised as a matter of board business? Did they make the decision when they actually sealed the decision in January after he left? Bob's your uncle. But the opposition is putting pressure on Carney. And the real question, how does Carney handle it? Is he going to let a one-day story turn into a 10-day story? Is he able to just glance this off? This is going to be a test of how the rookie handles the big leagues.
From what you saw in the debates earlier this week, he was in a really friendly environment, still didn't come across as extremely smooth. Do you think that he's got the chops to do it? Because, Poilievre has been quiet for the last few weeks as this has all been kind of playing out. But as you say, he's obviously building up a war chest and he's coming for him as soon as he we think will be named the leader.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting to watch because the best time to attack somebody, to be honest with you, is when they're on the downslope, not when they're on the ascendant. Because clearly Carney has struck some chord with Canadians. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that this guy walks in from nowhere and boom, all of a sudden the Liberal Party is able to overcome a 26-point deficit. And, and we watched him on Monday night, I think, really struggle in French. It was very, very basic. And yet Quebecers are kind of leading the charge in terms of interest in him. And here's the weird, perverse thing for the Conservatives or anyone when it comes to attacking someone like that. Sometimes the public reacts negatively when you start attacking someone that they are expressing curiosity and interest in, and they dismiss it all as politics. So they've got to find something that really sticks hard. As for Carney and his ability, I mean, obviously, I thought in the English debate, he dominated on the issue of tariff and Trump and tariffs, I should say. But obviously in French, I mean, he struggled to just get through as a set piece. If he had been facing real opponents on that stage, Blanchette had been coming at him, with a knife, he would have had a hard time dodging.
You brought up Trump and tariffs. I mean, Canada's done everything that Donald Trump has asked for, spent more money to tighten border security, appointed a fentanyl czar, whatever that even is. And yet, looks like the tariffs are still coming for us on Tuesday. What do you think about that?
Hey, newsflash, it was all BS, okay? Yep. Like, I don't understand that people are finding this shocking, and David McGuinty, the public security minister, is expressing outrage, and I'm sure he does feel outrage. But like anybody who's been paying attention who actually thought that this was about a fentanyl czar. I mean, just a couple of days ago in Western Canada, they had like 80 pounds of meth or something like that coming across the border from the United States into Canada. And this was a pretense. He needed to talk about border security and fentanyl in order to grant himself the technical authority to have an emergency order so that he could impose tariffs. That was always a pretense. It was always disconnected from reality. The reality is he wants to impose tariffs because he wants to reset world trade relations. I think he's going to blow up the global financial system. I think that's going to harm us. I think that's going to harm Europe. I think it's really going to harm the United States. I don't think he gives a damn. But, this was never really about a fentanyl czar, whatever in hell a fentanyl czar is and does.
Hey, what's going on in Ontario today?
Well, Doug Ford's going to win. He's going to win big. I imagine Legault is sitting there with an election bearing down on him in a year and a bit and thinking, God, I wish I was in that guy's shoes. I wish I had called one early. I wish I'd had the luxury of being able to call one early and to be able to win it. But Ford is going to win possibly historic win. Like, seriously, like he's going to win 90 seats out of 130 seat, 124 seat legislature. Like he's going to have won more seats the second time he ran, and now we'll have won more seats on top of that again in the third time he ran. So Ford's going to win. His gambit paid off. He tried to focus the election around Trump and tariffs, and Trump was in the news every day helping him make that case. And the real battle in Ontario is going to be to see who becomes the official opposition, and probably the Liberals will win, and probably Quebec Liberals will be watching that also with envy, hoping that they could repeat that in the election to come.
How much do you think Doug Ford's historic win that we're predicting in the Ontario election has to do with how hard he came out against Trump with this whole idea of, Canada's not for sale? He had the merch. Do you think that played into it as well?
It's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, if you actually look at the underlying numbers, Doug Ford was in trouble. Desire for change was running at like 70%. That's the number that Biden was facing and the Democrats are facing in the United States. Those are the kinds of numbers. Desire for change, right direction, wrong direction. 65% of Ontarians said government was headed in the wrong direction, province headed in the wrong direction, affordability issues. These are the things that governments get massacred on in election campaigns. And yet Doug Ford is winning a possibly historic majority government. It is clearly based on the fact that he wins on one metric overwhelmingly, that is who's best suited to take on Trump. And right now, Trump, whether you're in English, whether you're in French, whether you're in Quebec, whether you're in Toronto, you are talking about Trump, you are talking about tariffs. The guy blots out the sun. He's just a giant orange menace that eliminates our ability to talk, think, and work on anything else.
Scott Reid, CTV political analyst and former advisor to Prime Minister Paul Martin. Thanks so much, Scott. Appreciate it.